Goes. Tammy, take it away.
Thank you. Okay, guys, welcome to the Rotary Club of Kerrville. We're so excited to see you. We have a great program and a surprise in store for you today. So I would like to remind you to turn off your cell phones, to mute your Zoom, your audio on your computer, and to check in to Rotary on Facebook so people know that you're attending a Rotary Club meeting. I would like to invite Ken Azel to please give us the invocation. Ken, you're muted. So
I was actually given a challenge this morning because I didn't look at my email until early this morning, and I was asked to do a POD, and it took me a while to figure out what pod meant. And then I realized it was pray on demand, and I spent many years in graduate school figuring out how to do that. But I decided not to do that. Instead, I ran across someone who I greatly admire, an Irish poet by the name of John O'Donoghue. He spent his early adult life as a Roman Catholic priest. He then got married and spent the rest of his life focusing on Celtic spirituality. He died suddenly a few years ago, and supposedly, and I think true, the entire Ireland, both north and south, wept in utter despair at this deep man's no longer being present on the island of Ireland. He wrote a short poem on friendship, and it seemed to me to be appropriate for many of the reasons why people join Rotary. May you be blessed with good friends and learn to be a good friend to yourself. Journeying to that place in your soul where there is love, warmth, and feeling. May this change you. May it transfigure what is negative, distant, or cold within your heart. May you be brought into real passion, kindness, and belonging. May you treasure your friends. May you be good to them, be there for them, and receiving all the challenges, truth, and light you need. May you never be isolated, but know the embrace of your anam cara, which is Irish for soul friend. Amen.
Amen. I am getting ready to do the flag. I'm sorry I had it queued up and it's not here. Well, let's just go back to our old way. If you'll join me in the four-way test. I mean, if you'll join me with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am so sorry. It is, you've got to be on top of your game when you're doing this Zoom thing. Okay. I have a video that I'd like to show, but I'm going to do it after Daryl gives us his presentation because I'm so excited to hear it. Daryl, no, Clint, would you like to introduce Daryl for us, please, our speaker?
Thank you very much, President Tammy. We have today the Executive Director of the Museum of Western Art in Kerrville, Texas. He has spent 30 years in museum administration and related fields and has in the past been the CEO and Executive Director of the Briscoe Museum in San Antonio, the C.M. Russell Museum in Great Falls, Montana, the Western Heritage Museum and Lee County Cowboy Hall of Fame in Hobbs, New Mexico. In his spare time, he's a fly fisherman. He's married and has 3 grown children, all of whom live in Central Texas. Let me say, as a member of the Museum of Western Art in Kerrville, since our speaker has assumed the executive directorship, you can see a huge difference already in the vigor of the organization, the quality of the art that has been brought in, and he is doing a fabulous job of bringing back the Museum of Western Art in Kerrville, Texas. Please join me and give a warm Rotary welcome to our speaker, Daryl Beauchamp.
Yay.
Would everybody please go on mute?
Am I on mute? Nope. All right, I guess it's my turn. All right, this is weird. Clint called and said, would you like to be the guest speaker at Rotary? I automatically thought about the great lunch that I was going to get and all the hands I was going to get to shake and necks I was going to get to hug. And you guys just didn't make COVID go away fast enough. So here we are doing my first Zoom meeting. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. But I appreciate the opportunity. And Clint, thank you for the kind words about things that have been happening since I took over. I've got a presentation, a slide presentation I'd like to run through, and then of course answer any questions. I'm going to do this as quickly as I can because I know there's a lot of stuff on the agenda, and most of you know a great deal about the museum already. So David, how do I make that work? Go down to share screen. Uh-oh, I lost David. Yep. And everybody's hearing me okay?
Yes, we can hear you great.
You just never know. It's just without any crowd noise, it's kind of hard to hear. We're going to go to share the screen and put up a presentation. So
There you go, Daryl. Sorry,
running.
my unmute didn't want to work.
And David, we're up and running, okay?
Looks good to me.
All right. As most of you know, the Museum of Western Art here in Kerrville, Texas, was started in 1983 as the Cowboy Artist of America Museum, the CA Museum. And we tell guests when they come in the door about the museum, about the history of the building, a history that most of you already know. In 1981, 2, 3, a group of local citizens, including L.D. Brinkman and Bobby Shelton and Carolyn and Bill Roden and others, huge numbers. And some of you in the crowd all got together and said they needed to start a museum to house the works of the Cowboy Artist of America. And so the building was built by O'Neill Ford. This is an aerial view of that building from the back, a little seldom seen view, obviously, because it was taken by a drone. But we thought that it shows the trees and the CA garden off really well. This is officially the back side of the building here in River Hill Country Club area of Kerrville. We're located at 1550 Bandera Highway here in Kerrville. When guests come in the door, we talk about the CAs. We talk about the relationship that lasted until 2003 when the museum became the Museum of Western Art. And it's a good relationship that allows us to, as we rebranded from the CA Museum to the Museum of Western Art, that allows us to have a lot different styles of art. It allows us to have women, for example, who are not members of the CA, people of color, and it expands our ability to do exhibitions and shows. And so the Museum of Western Art in Kerrville, Texas, we send them on a tour of our 5 major galleries and our outdoor sculpture garden. The museum's mission then and now is basically the same. We're dedicated to the appreciation and preservation of the heritage of the American West. We are, according to the bylaws, and the bylaws that were kept when we became the Museum of Western Art, we are a national museum of Western art and culture. And that's important to emphasize the word National Museum of Western Art, because we have guests in here all of the time from places from around the world. Just recently, we had a family in from Osaka, Japan, and they came in the door, and the story they told was incredible. They flew into San Antonio, spent 3 or 4 days on the Riverwalk, and then rented a car to make a tour of tour of the hill country in Central Texas. And they left San Antonio, and their first stop was the Museum of Western Art. Go John Wayne, they said. It's one of those, they love the American West in other cultures. And they were going to leave here and go to Fredericksburg and do blue bonnets. And this was before COVID. And they were going to wind up in San Antonio and then back in Austin, then San Antonio. But I thought it was important because there's the people who've heard about us on a national and an international scale. And yet I walk into the local, one of the local shops with my bandana on that says the Museum of Western Art here in Kerrville, and people will say, we have a museum here in Kerrville. And so it's a national museum with a lot of local flair. Everybody is familiar with our logo. It's one of the most popular logos, most recognizable logos in the museum industry, the Museum of Western Art. Our goals then and now are really, 4 things. We have an ongoing program that presents the best of Western art and culture. We have an educational opportunities programming for children and adults alike that feature the heritage of the American West. We have a monthly family fun day that's free to people of Kerr County, and that's always very well attended. In normal situations, we have programming for both youth and adults that feature guest speakers, artists who are participating, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful day. Our educational opportunities extend to camps throughout the summer and adult programming throughout the year. Things like Wild West Wine Wednesday, which I really highly encourage. It's the first Wednesday of every month when we get back to a normal life. Wild West Wine Wednesday will give you an opportunity to come and sample the wines from a local winery, an area winery. And we also have an art talk. So there's lots of educational opportunities. Our other goal is to represent authentically the life of the West in both its historical and contemporary context. And you see that in our paintings and our sculptures. Not only do you see miners from the 1800s and cowboys and Indians from the 1880s, but you see today's West as it's represented by local artists like Herman Walker and Jason Skull and others. And our final goal is the same as it was back then. That's to serve the region as a top tourist draw, showcasing the best that the region has to offer. And I think we do that fairly well. Our exhibition lineup for 2020 was spectacular and is spectacular. We're about most of the way through it, but recapping it real quickly, it's the West in Winter, the collection of George and Betsy Matthews. Men to Match My Mountains, works from the L.D. Brinkman Foundation. Looks like we'll just have to tighten our belts again, the works of Gene Zesch. The current exhibition that we have going is Texas, the Land and the Legacy, the Art of Robert Pummel. And Bob Pummel is a local man. He lives here in River Hill, and he's been here for a number of years. And we wrap up the season with the 37th Annual Roundup exhibition and sale. And I was very proud of the fact that the Western Art Collector magazine said in February of 2020 that this year, 2020, would be without a doubt one of the top lineups in the Western Art Museum world. And we're both pleased with that and saddened that COVID broke out at just the right time and put a damper on a lot of that. But it's been a 2020 to remember. Real quickly about these shows that I just mentioned, the West in Winters, the collection of George and Betsy. They have a home here outside of in Kerrville, in Kerr County. And they collect nothing but winter scenes, as indicated there in the 2 pictures. The John Moyer's picture and the painting behind them, it's a Jim Carson painting. They collect only winter scenes. I asked George, why only winter scenes? He said, the Western art world's too large. You've got to draw the line somewhere. But that was a fabulous exhibition that opened in January. We had well over 200 people in attendance at the opening, including the Matthews family. And it ran through March 28. One of the banner exhibitions this year was the Men to Match My Mountains, works from the L.D. Brinkman Foundation. And there were works that came from the Brinkman Foundation. As most of you are aware, The Brinkman collection, LD Brinkman's collection, was over about 500 pieces of work. A good number of that work got sold off in auction upon the death of Mr. Brinkman. But he had put aside into what's called the LD Brinkman Foundation, a collection of 137 paintings and sculptures. And they are now on what's called permanent loan to the Museum of Western Art. We can't say that we own them because they remain in the permanent care of the Brinkman Foundation. But the trustees of that foundation, Don and his sister, I don't think have any intention of ever letting this leave Kerrville, and we're really very pleased with that. And it includes some of these works that you see up here on the screen. A very fun exhibition that we had was Looks Like We'll Just Have to Tighten Our Belts Again. The works of Gene Zesch. Gene is an 88-year-old cowboy, woodcarver artist from Mason, Texas. And that exhibition was from June 19 to August 1st. And it included works like that. If they don't make you chuckle, I don't know what will. I think the one I like as much as anything is the one that says, if I'm boring you people, just say so. That'd almost be appropriate for today, wouldn't it? If I'm boring you people, just say so. But the current exhibition that we're in right now is called The Land and the Legacy, the art of Robert Pummel. And it runs for about 2 more weeks, August 7 to September 19. And it is a fabulous exhibition of works, both historical in their nature and of his current landscapes. Mr. Pummel said that about 7, 8 years ago, he decided that he wanted to start painting pictures that made him happy, and landscapes make him very happy. And so when I approached him about a year ago to do a show, I was hoping for 20, 25 works at best. This exhibition has 65 works in it. And if you've not seen it, you absolutely need to come to the museum and see it before it closes. It's a once in a lifetime chance to see the works of Bob Pummel. The thing that's coming up that opens on September 26th, the 37th Annual Roundup Art Exhibition and Sale. The dates down at the bottom say September 25th through October 31st. Because of COVID, we moved that from a 3-day event to a 1-day event, and we're opening it on September 26th. This was the ad that appeared in the national magazines. And when we ran those ads, and we set those ads up back in March and April, COVID was not an issue. So the dates were tweaked a little bit to make those work for everybody. So it's featuring over 100 works from leading Western landscape and wildlife artists. And I will mention that tickets are on sale now. There's your invitation. If you've not gotten an invitation in the mail, all you have to do is drop me an email or say, Daryl, send me an invitation and we'll get one to you. Our opening gala is on the 9th of September 26, 2020. And yes, we're doing a live in-person gala. We will be having masks at every person who walks in the door, or you can bring your own. We're going to be practicing safe social distancing. Our gallery officially holds 385. We're limiting ticket sales to 150. So we're going to be at less than 50%, or right at 50% of our capacity in the 5 gallery spaces. We'll be doing a lot of things that are correct to keep people safe, and we certainly hope that you'll be a part of it. It's the 37th Annual Roundup Exhibition and Sale, known locally to a lot of people as The Party. Here's 3 works that come from that show. We just think some of the works, most of the works are just absolutely fantastic. So Jim Connolly's Ballistic, there's a Philip, he's a member of the Cowboy Artist of America. Darcy Pete's Guadalupe River Lilies that was painted here in Kerrville, last time she was in Kerrville. In addition to the exhibitions that we have up, we remind people that we have a museum store. It's a picture I took this morning. The store has been redesigned. We have a lot of new art and artists in it. We have craftsmen, local craftsmen, folks like JDS Leather, and a lot of jewelry from local craftspeople. We sell a full line of bags and clothing, our ball caps, and it's a great place to shop. And we tell guys especially, this is a wonderful place to shop if you don't want to get your wife something from Walmart. So come to the museum. In addition to our permanent collection, which is represented in the upper right-hand frame there, we have a permanent collection that comes out from time to time, and we have it out in between major exhibitions, and it'll be more on display in 2021. And we also do rentals of the facility. The rental that you see is from a recent wedding, and we're pleased to be able to do that for people. But what are our goals for 2021 and the future? Our goal is to live up to what Western Art and Architecture said in October of this year, that we are the museum to watch going forward. And I was very excited to hear those words come from their publisher in their online magazine. And our goals are real simple. We want to return to some sort of normality, don't we all? We want to be a part of a normal schedule that allows us to interface with actual human beings and have people come in the building at the level at which they were. We'd like to continue with a strong exhibition schedule. We have Women Artists of the West, an exhibition coming in early spring, featuring over 100 works from nothing but women artists. We felt like that would be a new look at the American West through the eyes of the women in that organization. We have a Buckles, Boots, and Spurs show coming up in midsummer. We're going to be featuring the works from the Shriner Indian Artifact Collection. Terry Shriner has placed that on loan to us, and we're excited about being able to put out over 150 items from Mr. Shriner's personal collection of Indian artifacts. Our goal is to increase tourism and visitation by 30% over a normal year and by about 200% over this year. Somebody asked, I think it was Tammy asked about our attendance during COVID. We were shut down completely in March and April, opened in mid-May. And since mid-May, it has been steadily climbing. We're excited about the number of people who are coming in. Staycations seem to be very popular. We're getting a lot more Kerrville people who are bringing friends in, and folks from Kerrville who said, I haven't been here in years. And we're excited about that. But we want to increase our tourism over a normal year by 30%. And we want to increase awareness among Kerrville and Kerr County residents. Again, I'm tired of walking into local restaurants or local businesses, and the question I get asked is, we have a museum here in Kerrville. Of course, we have a museum here in Kerrville, and it's one of the finest in the nation, and we're excited about that. So how can you help? The big question is, the big comment is that 1 out of 3 museums in the country will fail this year. And that's according to a study by the American Association of Museums, the AAM. 1 out of 3. Now, that's going to be a lot of museums that were on the brink anyway, and a lot of local museums that feature local things, and they're tourism driven, and they just don't have the background to do it. But it's a serious problem in America. 1 out of 3 is not going to reopen following the COVID crisis. How can you help? If you're not a member, we'd hope you join as a member. If you are a member, or better yet, if you think you're a member, let me know that you want to continue your renewal of memberships. I have people walk in all the time and they say, well, I'm a member of the museum, and we check, and their membership expired 3 years ago. And part of that is we don't do a good enough job, and we're working on it to make sure that we know who our members are, and that we're wanting you to continue your sponsorship of the museum. We have recently rolled out, a business and sponsor membership for companies. If you have a business and would like that gift tax write-off, let me know. We'll feature you on our website as a business sponsor. We can also, it comes with some perks like holding meetings here at the museum. So individual or family memberships at all different levels, business or sponsor memberships for your company. You can help with one of the more 20 projects that we have going on. Right now, for example, we have a fundraising campaign in place to replace our back doors to our museum. They're 36 years old. They've faced a lot of the north winds and rain. They're beginning to rot. The glass is loose. They're just it's time for us to replace those. And that's a project that's going to be about $40,000. Right at the moment, we have about $20,000 raised towards the goal of replacing those. And we can put your name above the window of the transom that says your company, your name, for $5,000 if you want to get in on that. And there's a limited numbers of those. So get with me about the list, if you will, of projects to help us improve this facility. And it ranges everything from the doors I mentioned to upgrading our security and our camera systems, and just lots of those kinds of projects. Plan your next event, your corporate or family event at the museum. We'd love to have you. And most importantly, we want you to visit the museum often. I hear people say all the time, I say, when's the last time you were at the museum? They say, well, I haven't been in 2 or 3 years. Nothing changes. As was witnessed by a previous slide, we change a lot. And so there's lots of reasons to come to the museum. We are the Museum of Western Art, located here in Kerrville, Texas. And we are proud to be Kerrville's museum and a great tourist attraction for the people of Kerrville. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. So let me stop sharing that screen. And David, how'd I do?
You did great. Wow.
I mean, with the technology, I was kind of scared that was going to be a disaster. But
At least from my end, it looked great. Thank you very much. I
all
appreciate
right. So anyway, thank you for your
Questions,
time
any
and your attention. I'll be glad to answer any questions if you've got some.
Do we have any questions?
Daryl, when is the catalog for the show going to be out?
Yeah, like we do an electronic catalog, Bob, and it comes out at the end of this week.
Okay.
We try to put it out about 3 weeks in advance. Since it's electronic, printing has gone to such an expense. To print the 8,000, or I'm sorry, the 500 Bob Pummel catalogs was almost $8,000. So it's an expensive proposition. So we've gone to an electronic catalog, and it'll be out, and it'll be on our website at the end of the week.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
What's the price of membership?
Price of membership ranges anywhere from $50, $75 for an individual, depending on there's an a la carte kind of scale, up to, we have members at the $10,000 a year level. So most families join at $75 to $100. A lot of people jump in at various different levels at $250, $500, et cetera. And like I say, they come with different gimmies and thank you gifts and things that you can do, like having the facility available to you for rental free of charge or included as part of your membership. So there's an entire cafeteria style choice that you can pick to build, and all of that's available on our website.
Thank you.
Are those prices from 75 to 10,000 include your business sponsors, or is that a different pricing structure?
Business sponsors start at $250, Tammy.
Okay.
And that gets you not only admission for free passes for up to 8 of your employees, but it also gives you rights to be on our website with your logo and an opportunity to rent our facility free of charge or use our facility free of charge for your corporate or business meetings. And we've had a lot of people who've been taking advantage of that. We had a local businessman recently wanted to have a big staff meeting of 50 people in his company and did not have a place large enough. And so they're a member of the museum. We let them use the pavilion, set up the tables and chairs and the sound system. And it was a great way for them to spend the morning. They even had food brought in, or we can do evening events here in the museum. So they vary depending on what you need.
Great. Thank you so much. Do we have any more questions for Daryl? Well, we really appreciate having you. That was just fascinating. You did an excellent job. It was so informative. And for those of us that go there often for various events, we see the change, but you're right. People think it doesn't. So thank you for making that clear. And if you would like to do a shameless plug, you can. You have your party, right? Is this month? This month, what can our members do to participate in your party?
Well, first of all, tickets are available for table sponsorships from $2,500, $5,000, $7,500, and $10,000. Or individual tickets are $150 and couple tickets are $250. So you can sponsor that way. We'd love to have your attendance. We'd love to have you come buy art. One of the reasons Mr. Schmierbeck asked about the catalog is he's always interested in the art. There are lots of other folks who buy art for their offices and their home. And so they try to get a heads up on what their art's going to be. We would love to have your sponsorship. We'd love to have your attendance. We are limiting it to 150 people this year. COVID has killed what is normally about 300 people at these events and has forced us to cut it in half. If you can't be here in person for that or don't want to be a part of a social gathering that large, I understand that and respect it, but you can also send your contribution to help with that cause and become a sponsor, a banner sponsor, a website sponsor. So we'd love to have a full house on that night. We're going to be very COVID responsible. We hope you'll join us. But tickets are now on sale. If you did not get your invitation in the mail, please let me know and I'll bring one to you personally because we want people at that event. It's our big fundraiser for the year. We're hoping to do really well with it again this year.
And can you buy the art online or is it just at the sale?
You can buy the art online. Actually, it's a box draw. And by that, I mean there's a box beside each work. And if multiple people want that work, then it's we reach into the box and draw the winner.
Oh, wow.
And so if your name is in the box and you're the only one, you're the winner. But if you want your name in the box for that night, all you have to do is just call the phone number on our website, 830-896-2553. And we'll be glad to put your name in for that box and let you know if you won at the end of the evening.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much. It's just, we're just lucky and to have the Museum of Western Art here in Kerrville. It's truly a gem and thank you for sharing its story with us.
We appreciate it. And thanks for the opportunity to visit with you guys today. And I hope to see every one of you in the museum very shortly. So.
Thank you. And Chris, Stephanie Miller, do you have a Families in Rotary for us?
I just have Sue Tieman's granddaughter. I think she got married last weekend or it's this coming weekend. I'm not really sure, but I know. Congratulations to Sue Tieman and the marriage of her granddaughter.
Rotary has never backed away.
We also, I would like to point or ask you to give prayers to Charlie McAveen and his wife Rhonda. They are not here today because they went to the funeral of Rhonda's brother who passed away in an accident. So if you could keep them in your prayers as well. I have a video that I'd like to share with you. It gives me goosebumps to know what all we do on a regular basis, but what we've done during COVID as an organization, both locally and internationally. So I'd like to share this with you. Christy and I watched it and it's just pretty awesome. So.
Rotary has never backed away from the hardest challenges because we're committed to a better, more equitable world. This year is no exception. Staying away from people and places we love in order to keep them safe. And despite the challenges, your generosity continued. Your donations provided more than $7 million to fund coronavirus relief projects in communities worldwide. And thanks to you, citizens of Kigali, Rwanda have their first public library. Women in rural Costa Rica are enriching their communities through social entrepreneurship. At-risk kids in Puerto Rico have an artistic outlet to heal their emotional traumas. Rotary and its partners have reduced 99.9% of polio cases worldwide. Thanks to you, the Rotary Foundation raised $408 million last year. So together, we can keep doing good in the world. Donors who take action help create lasting change. Our work isn't possible without you. Rotary has never backed away from the hardest challenges because we're committed to a better, more equitable world. This year is no exception. From people and places we love in order to keep them safe.
Okay, sorry about that. I just thought that was such an awesome video to remind us that we're part of something really big. We do great things here locally, but together, all of us do wonderful things throughout the world. And I thought that was a good way to show it, the amounts of money we've raised as a organization and the people that we've helped even during COVID. So I wanted to share that with you. Also, I think let's do wine now. And then David, I will turn it over to you for our breakout sessions.
You're gonna say what they're supposed to talk about, right?
I know, yes, after we do the wine, I will, I promise. Okay, so I have a rosé, a moscato, a sangria, and a red wine. So those are the options. And the first person that I've drawn is Ingrid Painter.
She always wins.
We are here.
Is Ingrid there, and does she have her pen on?
No, we'll skip on the wine. We don't drink it.
Okay. The next one is Stephanie Miller. Stephanie Miller, are you still here, and do you have your pen on?
I'm here, but I don't have my pen on. I
Oh,
have
and
my
you're-
coin, but I don't have my pen.
You're so honest. You have your challenge coin?
Yes.
Okay, because that is, we've set precedent because we let Kim Clarkson win with the challenge coin. So you are the winner.
Awesome.
And so do you want a rosé, a moscato, a sangria, or a red wine?
I'll take red.
Okay. I will know next time. Everybody seems to like red, so we'll have more of that. Okay. So I told you that there was going to be a surprise, and here is the surprise. Our Zoom subscription allows us to has a lot of capabilities that we're not using, one of which is to go into breakout sessions. Our board of directors were talking about how one of the things we're missing by having Zoom meetings is that personal interaction, all that 15 minutes prior to meeting where we were talking to our friends and just hanging out and visiting. That's one of the things that we miss. So with David's help, we're going to do a breakout session. How long are we going to do it for, David?
I'm gonna try to do 10 minutes.
Okay,
So I haven't actually done this for 10 minutes ever. What should happen is we'll set up the breakout sessions. You all should be put into the breakout sessions automatically. And after 10 minutes, they'll end automatically. If I, for some reason, get bored, I may end it prematurely. So, let's see if I can do this. Hang on.
Just a second. So what we would like you to do is visit, say hello, but we want to ask you about what your thoughts are for meeting in person. Would you feel safe meeting in person again? What would make you feel safe? Would you like meeting in person and Zoom? Let's talk about that in our breakout sessions, and then when we come back, we'll see what everybody thought. How's that? Are you with me, David?
I'm with you. I'm ready to hit it. Are you guys ready?
We're ready.
There we go.
Person meetings all together still.
Okay, so so this seems like a rather large breakout session.
It does, doesn't it? It's okay.
It's supposed to automatically move the people out into it. So I've only tried it with a couple of people, so.
That's okay. But I think it's interesting and we can perfect it. So we just appreciate you trying. So I'd like to hear from some of you on what you think about the meeting, in person, Zoom, both.
We just jump in?
Yes.
Okay, I thought the meeting was great. Way to go, Museum of Western Art. I'm going to go soon.
Yeah.
I might even buy some art, but I don't have any wall space left.
Delaney, that's no excuse.
Okay, you got me there. I'll find some wall. I think that with council meeting that we had last night, and I think as long as your room is large enough, I think for the amount of people we were seeing at Rotary before, I think we could manage. And I'm used to wearing my mask now. I mean, that's just my personal feeling. And I think if I didn't feel well or I wasn't up to snuff, I just wouldn't, like I probably wouldn't have anyway. But that's my 2 cents. It's mainly about the size of the room and the number of people in it.
Hey, Tammy, I think I know what I did wrong. You want to try again?
Yes, go ahead.
Let's try this again, okay? And thank you for your input, Delane. I'm going to stop the breakout rooms, and we should all end up back in the main room.
Are you breaking up?
Okay, so you end up on mute when you come back in. Okay. So I think okay, I seem to be in a breakout room. There's only 6 people.
You have all the smart people here.
Well,
How did you do that?
Okay, so they're still closing. Okay, the breakout room's closing.
Here they come.
So it's a different Christy when there's more than you and me doing it, apparently. Okay, here they are. They're coming back. You're on mute when you come back, guys. So I appreciate you bearing with me. I want to try to get this right. Sorry, Tammy.
In a new breakout?
Okay.
I think maybe I didn't I think I had to designate how many breakout rooms.
Well, I think it's really fun. So let's try it again and do
So
5 minutes.
I went for automatic. Let's try again here. Is everybody back, I wonder?
I think so. It looks like it.
Nah, okay, so options. Move all participants, allow participants, notify me when the time is up. I'm afraid it's not going to create, oh, here, I need to add a room maybe.
Well, we can still practice. I think we had a lot of, let's just stay where we are. We've got.
Yeah, something's not right here, okay?
Yeah, we'll learn it, and I don't want to lose anybody, but.
Hey, I apologize. I thought we had it. We actually practiced this, but only with 2 people.
There's no need to apologize. You did a great job in volunteering to do something this hard. We really appreciate. So no need to apologize, and we'll get it straight. But it does show that I thought that people look so excited to get to talk to each other, and I think it's a very good idea. So we'll perfect it for next week. I don't know if we were all in one breakout session, but I heard from 3 people who said that they are ready to start meeting again, maybe a hybrid, probably some version of Zoom and in person. So if any of you, we have about 5 minutes, if any of you would like to tell me now what your thoughts are about trying to resume in-person meetings, let's say maybe October 1st.
Okay, I'd like to say something because I am not for having meetings.
Okay.
I think that it's a great way to spread COVID. And I think that we'll end up with some of our members getting it and knowing that there's a 2%, 2% of people that get it die from it. And if you're in a high risk group, that percentage goes up dramatically.
Right.
So if we're going to meet, and I would guess that a lot of us are in high risk groups. So to me, it does not sound smart at all to have a physical meeting because you're just asking to spread COVID.
And I can appreciate that thought.
That's my opinion on it. So I understand some of you apparently are not concerned about getting COVID. But if you have some concern about getting COVID, I can't imagine why you would want to meet physically.
Right. Well,
I have a concern about getting COVID, but I think, okay, number one, I'm so used to going to the Croc like 6 days a week to the gym part. And the Croc is very just cleaning it all the time. And they make us, well, for the gym part anyway, we have to wear gloves when we come in. We have to wear masks. I'm just so used to it, it doesn't really bother me to think of going to the Croc also for Rotary. I agree that probably at first having the option of Zoom is a requirement because of issues with people who are maybe highly susceptible. I think October will also be a little bit looser than today. I mean, less coronavirus than today, slightly less. I do think that room is kind of borderline big enough for spacing, but I think that with people who are going to probably opt out and do the Zoom part, I think that it would be clearly able to space out. I think that we could say something like, you must wear a mask. In fact, the Croc says this on the door. You must wear a mask to enter the Croc building. And then the whole way until you sit down and you're eating, of course you can take off the mask to eat and drink. But then again, at the end, as you're leaving, you must put back on your mask to mingle together and to walk out of the building. The Croc requires that. So I think that it can be safe, though I can also see that people, like Jock said, that feel susceptible or uncomfortable. For a while, it would be good to have the Zoom option for them.
Tammy, this is Mike Allen, and I'm in favor of going back to some form of meeting, but as we're entering that time of year when the temperature is moderate for a little while, I like the idea of open air meetings, and I'm thinking of the pavilion out near the Ag Barn. I think it's part of the Arts and Crafts pavilion, where I've been to a farmer's market or two out there. And something like that, where this time of year where the temperatures can be pleasant, where we could meet outside. I like the idea of open air.
And the museum, Tammy, the Museum of Western Art would volunteer the pavilion for the Rotarians to meet.
Perfect.
Oh,
great.
That'd be awesome, because I love the idea of outdoors too.
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about, and that sounds like a really good option. I don't want anyone to be uncomfortable. I don't want anyone to be scared. But I also am hearing there are a lot of people that feel, I think their own mental health would be helpful to figure out how to get back to some sort of meeting. I too have gone, because of my job, I'm everywhere, and I wear my mask. And I see various other organizations now meeting with social distancing and mask, and they have been for a couple months now. So I feel like there's something that we could do, but I don't want to jump the gun too quickly, and I don't want to leave anybody hanging that is, really feeling left out. So it's a conversation we need to have as a club. We'll talk more about what we're going to do. Our board discussed it yesterday a little bit. We didn't discuss what our views were. We discussed having the club tell us what their thoughts are, and then we can make a decision. But we want to make sure everybody can be feel included and safe, whatever we do. So that's where our goal is, and I think it's time to get started talking about that. And we may have a box lunch and we meet outside for a little bit. We'll just see what happens. But we'll just see what happens. But for right now, I want everybody to start thinking about that. I'll send out another email survey, and we can, I kept log of every single vote on the last one. And I can tell you that some of the people that voted absolutely no last time are now saying that they would like to see both in person and Zoom. So I think people are changing, but you don't want to get overconfident and make a bad choice. So that's why we're having these conversations.
President Tammy.
Yes.
This is Clint, and I'll just share with the group that my old club in Salem, Virginia, about the same size as ours, is doing both. They're meeting in person, and they're continuing to have Zoom meetings. It might be helpful for you to maybe check with some of the other clubs in comparable size to ours and see what they're doing. I originally wanted to keep meeting in person. That was my vote. And then as coronavirus got a lot more prevalent in Kerrville, I began to think that David Rittenhouse might have been right. So I think if you can find out what other clubs are doing, and I think it'd be great to have another poll, and let's just see what the members want to do.
We will, and I just want everyone to know that we're going to take everyone's views and thoughts and wishes in mind and just make the best choice for everyone. So thank you so much for that. In our agenda, we were going to discuss all this, so we did. I've shown you the video. I wanted to tell you, I know I sent an email out, but we're very busy. We are people of action. We're doing great things, and even in the middle of a pandemic. Our Labor Day Walk-a-thon was great this Monday. There were 28 Rotarians that volunteered. We handed out 275 bottles of water. We had 3 people ask about that were interested in membership to our club. And we got to tell our story through our golf signs all the way down the Riverwalk. So people knew the things that we did. And this event was a brainchild of Christy Vandenberg, and it's continued, and I think it's very successful, and it's a good way to raise awareness about Rotary. And I was really proud of our club, and I was proud to volunteer myself for it. We have trash pickup this Saturday. Todd has sent out an email. I've sent out an email. You want to speak, Todd?
Oh, sure. Boy, we're sure looking forward to some help this Saturday. Y'all come on out. 7 o'clock, we'll meet around the flagpole at Tally and work probably from about 7:30 to 9. And we do need some more help. I did send out another email, and we sure appreciate it. We haven't picked up since January, but the state gave us the green light, so we're back in there. We sure appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. And thank you for heading up that project. It's very important, and I suspect it's going to be pretty bad after not being there for so long. So all the help will be appreciated. And our blood drive is now scheduled. We have it for September 29th. It will be at Kerrville Motors. I will have to they're giving me information on how to virtually register. It will be social distanced. It will be the blood mobile, and you will come by appointment so that they can keep people social distance, and masks will be required. So it's very safe. But they have continued the antibody testing. So if you've been curious as to whether or not you could have had it and didn't know, the antibody testing is free and will continue through September during our blood drive as well. But I'll send out more information on that. I think I have made all of the announcements that we have for now. Does anybody have anything for the good of the club that they would like to share? Okay, well, if you will join me in the 4-way test, we will conclude this meeting, but I want to thank David Rittenhouse so much for taking over this job. He did an excellent job, and we will practice more.
Didn't work.
Did great. Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah.
And on the spur of the moment, so just thank you so much. Okay, if you'll join me in the 4-way test. Of the things
we
say,
Is it the
Is it
truth? Is it fair to
fair
all
all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and
Goodwill and better friendships?
Will
Will it be beneficial
to all concerned?
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.